Welcome to the recap, as Oklahoma begins the process of reopening from the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm Macy Ellerick.
And I'm Kenzie Watson. Governor Kevin Stitt announced the multi-phase plan to reopen businesses that were shut down weeks ago to help stop the spread of the virus.
The plan to reopen will rely on whether Oklahoma's infection rates and hospitalizations remain manageable. Phase 1 begins Friday the 24th with the reopening of personal care businesses like hair and nail salons, as long as they follow strict social distancing rules and sanitization guidelines. State parks can also reopen. On May 1st, tattoo parlors, restaurant dining rooms, and places of worship can reopen with similar social distancing guidelines. If after 2 weeks COVID-19 cases don't go up, Phase 2 will begin, which will resume non-essential travel and allow bars to reopen as long as they decrease the number of people allowed inside at once. During both phases, the governor is recommending the elderly and those more vulnerable to the virus stay at home. If all goes well, the governor hopes to move to Phase 3 by June 1st, which would allow businesses to reopen with unrestricted staffing.
Not everyone agrees with the plans to reopen Oklahoma. Mayors from Oklahoma City and Tulsa say businesses should follow individual city restrictions before reopening. And House Democrats say the governor should reconsider the plan until the state has more reliable data on the spread of COVID-19.
State Representative Lundy Kiger says the governor should provide more funding for rural hospitals after his order shutting down non-essential and elective surgeries. In a press release, Kiger said those hospitals have lost 80% of their funding since the pandemic closures, and he is calling on the governor to provide $6 million from the state's Tobacco Settlement Trust, or TSET. However, the governor cannot do that. ENN contacted TSET, and the agency said because of the way the voters of Oklahoma set up the trust, the governor cannot just borrow money from it. In a statement, the TSET said the money it can spend for this year has already been awarded, but it has been using funds to help provide for the rural health care. In a statement, Thomas Larson with TSET said, TSET has continued to focus on assisting local communities in improving the health of citizens and supporting rural hospitals by providing funds for a loan repayment program for doctors who practice in rural and underserved areas.
A big win or a bigger gamble for the governor? This week, 2 tribes announced they have reached an agreement for new gaming compacts with the state. Governor Stitt announced the Otoe-Missouri tribe and the Comanche Nation have agreed to new contracts which would allow for more casinos and expand gambling options like sports betting. But according to the Associated Press, House and Senate leaders say the new deals aren't legal. In a statement to ENN, the governor's office said, a number of legal experts thoroughly researched and considered the interpretation for federal law for negotiating events wagering and the interpretation of state law regarding the authority and role of the governor to compact with tribes. They are confident in the governor's authority and the validity of the compacts. Lawmakers will be going back to the Capitol next week.
For more on what they expect, ENN's Rylie Eisenhauer has this interview with the lawmaker of the week, Representative John Talley.
Hi, I'm Rylie Eisenhauer with Epic News Network, and today I'm joined by Representative John Talley. Hi.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning. Are the representatives and others who work at the Capitol required to work from home, or are they still able to go up to the Capitol for work?
We can go up to the Capitol as far as representatives. I'm told that senators can only go up there for an hour a day with their helpers, their secretaries. And they're actually called EAs for senators. Legislators have what we call LAs, and they can go up there as much as they want. So we're not really limited. We're just limited on making sure we're 6 feet apart, making sure we're wearing masks.
Right. So has there been more focus on budgeting lately or physical bills?
Budgeting, lots on budgeting. We're told that by law, we have to get a budget done, and it has to be a balanced budget. The state of Oklahoma's law is it has to be a balanced budget, but I'm wanting to know, there's no way we can look at 400 bills from the Senate. So I'm wanting to know which bills we're going to look at after we've done the budget so that I can start reading them and seeing how I'll vote.
So yesterday, Governor Stitt introduced the Open Up and Recover Safely plan. Can you give us a little insight on that?
Sure. They put out a lot of information on it.
Yes.
There's 3 phases to it. So the first phase can possibly start I believe it's April 30th. And it's like, I think hairdressers, people that do fingernails and toenails, things like that, but you still have to practice safe distancing as much as possible, wearing a mask, things like that. But I've heard that some cities don't want to maybe open up that quick. And so there's a little bit of pushback from some cities that I've seen.
So what are you personally doing to stay safe?
Well, I wear a mask all the time, almost all the time. We don't go out that much. We've been to Walmart, we've been to Brahms, and we bought gas. We've been to the bank, but the drive-through. So just being smart. I don't want to get sick. I'm old, so I got to be careful. And I don't want to spread anything either.
Yes.
So what are you doing to be safe?
I have been practically at home 24/7. I haven't really gone anywhere. Whenever I do leave the house, making sure to wear a mask, just staying as safe as possible.
Right. So are you doing anything like I heard of some kids making some masks to give away and things like that? What are you doing to help cause?
I haven't personally made any. I've thought of possibly doing that, but we have bought some from people locally and
Okay.
we're eating locally.
Yes. Ordering out type things, yes. And which I think helps the economy as much as possible. The biggest thing I've heard is that people have filled out the information for unemployment, but they aren't getting any money yet. So they've gone through the steps, but the unemployment, they're not getting any money. And then some of the smaller businesses have been put on hold because they ran out of money. And I noticed that there was some big businesses that got millions of dollars because of some loopholes that were out there. Did you hear about that?
A little bit.
Oh, okay. Like Shake Shack Burgers got $10 million, and they really have 4,000 employees, I'm told. But each store has, fewer than 500. So each store put in for the money, but they don't need it. And so they're going to give it back. It just kind of bugs me. Why did they fill it out in the first place, though, if they really didn't need it?
So what do you think the rest of this year will look like for the legislature?
That is a great question. I personally think next week we'll go back to the Capitol and finish up on, or at least in the next 2 weeks, finish up on the budget because there's all kinds of information that goes into doing the budget. In fact, we almost had it done, and then it was declared a shortfall. So we had to pull some money out of the rainy day fund. And those 4 bills that we voted on took about an hour for each bill for us to go into the chamber, vote, and get out so the next 10 people could come in. So by the time you get 100 votes, it took quite a long time. So I think in the next 2 weeks, we'll get that done. And then possibly in the next 2 weeks, we'll see maybe as many as 50 policy bills, and then I think we'll adjourn. I think we'll adjourn a little early because it is a voting year. It is a year of people running like I am. Do you see my sign behind me?
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rylie, and thank you for joining us on this all-digital episode of the reCAP.
We've also got some great new student stories on our website, so make sure to keep checking in there and on all our social media feeds for more stories from the student journalists of the Epic News Network.